You might have observed it before, and it is an adhesive. It's used for gumming things. I know you must have used gum before. Then alkaloids. Alkaloids is a general term that is used for the waste product that you find in plants. Then we have a lot of them, nicotine, cocaine, and all that. Then resin is another waste product that is used for temporary closure of wounds. An alkaloid used for temporary closure of wound. When you want to close wound, then you use resin. So tannin is the one. Tannin is present in the bark of oak tree. It's also present in mango, but the one in mango is the one that is used for tanning leather's hide. The one in the bark of oak, they use it to make ink. So tannin is the waste product of plants that is used in the conversion of hide to leather. The next question: in the mammalian kidney, the Bowman's capsule is located in the. We have answered this question earlier, where we were asked that the outer layer of the kidney, where you have the Bowman's capsule, is what? It is the cortex. Cortex and medulla. Cortex is the outer layer. Medulla is the internal layer of the kidney. So that is where you find the Bowman's capsule, which is involved in ultrafiltration. The next question: in insects, the structure that performs the same function as the kidney in man is what? A, the nephridium, B, the flame cell, C, the malfigant tube, D, the trachea. The question is just simply asking of the excretory organ in an insect, and the malfigant tube is the excretory organ in insects. Flame cells are excretory organ in flatworms, and trachea you find it in man. So the malfigant tube is the excretory organ in insects. Still under our broad topic, form and function, we'll be looking at support and movement. That's the topic we'll be considering, support and movement. So we'll be looking at various questions that we've been doing that has appeared in the JAMB past questions for the past 20 years. And the first question is this: a band of connective tissue linking two bones in a joint is known as A, tendon, B, cartilage, C, synovial membrane, D, ligament. Now, looking at the options, the first one says tendon. Tendon is the muscle that is around the joint. So, it's around the joint, but it helps in movements. It helps in easy movement so that there will be no collision. Then cartilage. Cartilage is a soft tissue. It's not hard like bone, but it performs a similar function to the bone. In fact, in some cartilaginous species like shark and theirs, we don't have bone, we have cartilage. So cartilage is okay, like the what you have in your hair is cartilage. There's no bone there, just cartilage. Even though it's soft and flexible, but it's not bone. Then we have the synovial membrane, so that contains the synovial fluid around the joint. Then the ligament. The ligament is a band of connective tissue that links two bones, and that leads us to the answer. Ligament is the answer, a band of connective tissue linking two bones in a joint. The next question: a pendicular skeleton is composed of the pectoral girdle with A, pelvic girdle, fore and hind limbs, B, pelvic girdle and fore limbs, C, lumbar vertebra and pelvic girdle, D, lumbar vertebra, fore and hind limbs. You know, the mammalian skeleton is divided majorly into two: the axial skeleton and the appendicular skeleton. Under the axial skeleton, you have the skull, the vertebrae, and the rest, the breast bones, the rib bones, and all that. But under appendicular skeleton, we have the pectoral girdle, we have the pelvic girdle, we have the hind limbs and the ilium. Those are the four that you have under the appendicular skeleton. Now, So, and that leads us to the first option, pectoral girdle, pelvic girdle, fore and hind limbs. So, ruling out option B. Option B does not have hind limbs, so it is ruled out. Option C, it has lumbar vertebrae. That's one of the vertebrae. That's the backbone. So, backbone is part of axial skeleton, not appendicular skeleton. Then, lumbar vertebrae is also appearing in option D, so that rules it out. That's part of the axial skeleton. The next question, in which of the following groups of vertebrae would the largest amount of yolk be found in the head? Mammals, A. B. Fishes, C. Amphibians, D. Reptiles. The largest amount of yolk will be found in the eggs of reptiles. The next question, which of the following is not a function of the mammalian skeleton? A. Protection, B. Respiration, C. Transportation, D. Support. The mammalian skeleton protects some delicate organs in the body. For instance, the brain, the skull protects our brain. It's very delicate. Then the rib bones or the breast bones protects delicate organs like the liver, the kidneys, and the rest. So, mammalian skeleton is for protection. So that tells us that option A is not the answer. Then option B, the movement of the rib cage gives the liver the space to respire, as in like we breathe in, we breathe out. So respiration is also a function of the mammalian skeleton. Option D now, support. The mammalian skeleton supports the other parts of the body, like our flesh. Let's just assume that the bones just disappear. You discover that the human body will just fall down like just a piece of liquid, because it's the bones that is upholding the body. Transportation is not a function of the mammalian skeleton. Mammalian skeleton helps in movement. Movement is quite different from transportation. Transportation is movement from one place to the other. So it is movement rather than transportation. And since movement is not here, so we rule out that option. So option C, transportation is not a function of the mammalian skeleton. So that is our answer, C. Then the next question. The chitin in the exoskeleton of many arthropods is strengthened by A. Calcium compounds, B. Organic salts, C. Lipids, D. Proteins. The chitin is made up of proteins, so it cannot strengthen it again. That's the major component, or that's what the chitin is made up of, proteins. So that rules out option D. Then lipids and organic salts don't strengthen. So if you even want to just use idea, that should just lead you to the answer straight. You know what calcium is for. Calcium strengthens the bone. So calcium compounds are the ones that strengthen the chitin in the exoskeleton of many arthropods. The next question. The scapula and the ischium are part of the pectoral girdle, B. Pelvic girdle, C. Appendicular skeleton, D. Hind limb. The scapula is the bone of the shoulder, while the ischium is part of the bones of the pelvic girdle. So, and I said earlier that the mammalian skeleton is divided into axial skeleton and appendicular skeleton. Axial skeleton consisting of the skull, brain, the backbone, that's the vertebrae, the chest bone. Those are parts of the axial skeleton. Then the appendicular skeleton made up of the hind bones, that's legs in humans, the forelimbs, hind limbs, that's legs in human, forelimbs, that's the hands. Then we have the pelvic girdle and the pectoral girdle. The scapula is part of the pectoral girdle, while the ischium is part of the pelvic girdle. So that rules out scapula and ischium. They are not from the same part of the body, of the bone. So pectoral girdle is for the scapula, while pelvic girdle, option B, is for ischium. Then they have to find a balance. That is leading us to option C. Appendicular skeleton is made up of pectoral girdle, pelvic girdle, hind limb, and then forelimb. So our answer is option Option C, appendicular skeleton. Appendicular skeleton, you find pectoral girdle there, you find pelvic girdle there, and scapula is part of pectoral girdle, while ischium is part of pelvic girdle. So that gives us appendicular skeleton, option C. The next question. The presence of endoskeleton is characteristics of A, invertebrata, B, vertebrata, C, insecta, D, coelenterata. Endoskeleton is internal skeleton, while exo is external, as we have in arthropods. So invertebrates, they don't even have they don't have backbone. So that rules out option A. Vertebrates are the ones that have internal skeleton, endoskeleton. So our answer is B, vertebrata. Vertebrates have endoskeleton, internal skeleton. So insecta and coelenterata don't have endoskeleton. So that rules out those options. So we have option B, which is vertebrata. The next question is a diagram showing a typical cervical vertebra. That's part of the axial skeleton. It's part of the axial skeleton, and it's asking. Now looking at it, it says the structure above represents a what? I've already answered that. It's a cervical vertebrae. That's option B. Then the cervical vertebra is labeled 1 to 5, and 1 is the neural spine, 2 is the neural canal, that O, then 3 is the cervical rib, that's the cervical rib, then we have 4 being the central, and 5 being the vertebratal canal. Now the second question under that says blood vessels usually pass through the structure labeled, that is blood vessels pass through which of those structures? 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. 2, 3, 4 or 5. Which of the places does